All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first 1 Million Cups Norman that is virtual. We were actually talking as a committee that this is our 2-year anniversary. It was actually last month, and then, everything happened. And so thank you guys for continuing to be with us for the last 2 years. We have an amazing group of people that love to connect the community, love to share what's happening in our area, and really help to uplift and promote all of our local startups and new businesses. So first off, if you haven't already, please download the 1 Million Cups app and check in for us today. Again, this app is great because it'll always just let you know what business is presenting. You can give them online feedback, which is great. And that just kind of gets connected through our 1 Million Cups back end. Again, 1 Million Cups is part of the Kauffman Foundation. So if you haven't heard of the Kauffman Foundation, I recommend looking them up. They're doing a lot of work right now with helping startups through everything that we're going through with the pandemic. So this is our organizing committee. So we have a number of our organizing committee members here. So if you are here, you can raise your hand. Thank you for all of you that are on webcam. It just kind of shows the community. So we've got a lot of people here that surround the area. So thank you again for your time. Thank you again to our sponsors. Though we're not physically meeting, we're still getting in a lot of help with pushing out the message, supporting the community. We kind of have a, TBD on where we're going to be next month, but hopefully we might be back at main site. So we'll get started with our first presentation. We have Zach Williams, who will be presenting on his business, GO CANNABIZ. GoGoCannabiz is actually part of the Batch 5 with the Thunder Launchpad Stitch Crew program. And they will be presenting on their business, and they're actually prepping for their demo day that is coming up. So they're gonna kind of go through this a little bit in preparation for that. So keep that in mind if you have any questions about their business, because you could help them in making sure that they're prepared and ready for that demo day that's coming up. So Zach, I will unmute you and let you take it from here. And feel free to just say next slide to me.
Okay, I thought I was sharing my screen. I got you. Okay, give me a second here. All right, I got to clear my screen. Okay, so first things first, thanks for letting me be a part of this presentation, presenting to 1 Million Cups Norman. I did the 1 Million Cups back in October, I believe, for 1 Million Cups Oklahoma City, and it was a cool experience. Definitely helped me get a little organized then. And I was thinking this morning about how much things have changed since I presented then, not only with my company, GoGoCannabiz, but also with just business in general, and where we are in general. It's pretty wild. Cool as it is to work from home. Heck, I was working from home before then, but now I've got my wife working at home with me. So it's just a different world. Go ahead and hit the next slide. So of course, I'm Zach Williams. I'm the co-founder and president. I kind of refer to myself as a serial entrepreneur. I have a business in the oil and gas exploration, and also have a small coloring book business. And I've started other stuff as well as a serial entrepreneur. My partner, who I lean on tremendously, is Adam Belusco. He's got a diverse background, like it says there, in selling enterprise software. He worked for Dell, also has helped develop and take to market a marketplace for the U.S. blood industry. So his experience in the space is just tremendous, and I couldn't do this without him. I guess it's probably a good time to talk about how we got to this point. We're both lifelong friends. I've known each other forever. We've worked together before, and then both went and different directions. This was when Oklahoma started opening up to the cannabis industry, we saw an opportunity here to work together again. And it wasn't so much that we were interested in cannabis. Heck, I'm interested. I think it's an interesting subject and whatnot, but we were really looking for a way to solve some problems, to fill in some gaps. And that's where we kind of landed. One of our things was with Adam's experience and my goals in starting a new business. We wanted to, like I said, solve problems, and we also wanted to be able to make money while we sleep. And so that requires automating systems. And with as we got into this business, we found an ancillary shovels and pickaxe approach to what we do, if you will, or to the cannabis industry. And so that's where GoGoCannabiz kind of started. You can go to the next slide. Of course, we are GoGoCannabiz. We are a software as a solution service that aims to make legal cannabis businesses more efficient, convenient, and safer by streamlining the ordering process and optimizing the business-to-business supply chain. Like it says there, we're filling in the gaps. I think you'll see, well, when we approach this industry, there's definitely people that do distribution. There are definitely producers, your growers, your processors of edibles, mind you. And also there are plenty of dispensaries. We all see them everywhere. And there are services that try to address each one of those services. But of course, we identified a few problems in that. And so that'll take us to the next slide. First of all, there's no one platform that connects retailers with producers and brands. And there's nothing that provides transparent delivery logistics and handles the transaction with a cashless electronic payment. That's just a big gap. Another big gap that we identified is the efficient distribution of product and services. Just you can look at the quick figures right here. Right now there are and I think these numbers have gone up. There are over 7,723 growers and processors that exist to serve 2,379 dispensaries. There are only 17 transporters and 4, I think there may be a little few more now, but 4 waste disposal companies at the end of March, and only 17 laboratories to support them. So you have support services that are lacking. You have dispensaries that, while are plentiful, there are way too many producers to serve them. I think the ratio right now is like 3 to 3.25 to 3.5 to 1 for each dispensary. And so that really makes the market competitive. It makes it tough for not only the dispensaries to know who they're going for or who they're going to go with, who they're going to do business with, where they're going to order. They also have to think about other things like the logistics of delivery of product, how to distribute that product, how to get rid of waste, how to handle laboratory and prep, make sure they've got a product that's compliant. The third issue is safety. Even right now, and I think they were coming out with the March numbers, but where we had the best numbers ever, but you were looking at something well over $25 million in monthly sales. Over 90% of that is handled in person with hard currency. Even now in the COVID-19 age that we're hurtling into, people are still doing that business with dirty hard currency. You can go to the next slide. Our solution, the GoGoCannabiz solution, addresses all these problems, and we do a lot more through an ecosystem of product and service offerings with an integrated marketplace application. Cannabis producers and brands gain market exposure and transactional insights along with managed logistics. We have this all set up for them. Orders flow right through our app for them. For retailers, we offer a simplified order management system with scheduled delivery. That makes things safer, makes logistics more amenable, and all users enjoy the convenience of cashless transactions, and the increased safety that comes with it.
Zach, sorry, there's a transition on this PowerPoint, so that's why it keeps bumping forward. So I just wanted to apologize for that.
You can go to the next slide. The GoGoCannabiz app, it's mobile. It's not only available in desktop and iOS and Android, systems, but this is something where dispensary owners, these business owners, can access the app, conduct business from wherever they are. As you can see here, we are on the GoGo. They can sign up on their phone, shop around on their phone, place orders on their phone, and collect rewards. If they're using their buyer account. You can go to the next slide. The size of the market, it's just tremendous. I mean, obviously there's 47 states with medicinal or adult use laws. Many of those are recent, and that is to say within the last 12 to 18 months. Some are very young. Oklahoma is a very young market, but obviously it's shocking the world, and that's not hyperbole to say that. I've been to conferences in Las Vegas and spoken to folks in other parts of the country, and the numbers that Oklahoma is posting with respect to our population is just shocking the world. We're closing in on 10% of this population of the state of Oklahoma just being card carrying medical marijuana patients. As you can see there's also 25 million in monthly sales that go through there, and only 3 states without legal cannabis. An idea as to what we're dealing with, and we've already gone over the numbers with respect to the businesses in Oklahoma. With respect to our revenue models, there are several revenue streams that we've identified. All of these could be businesses, stand-up businesses on their own, the way we've identified them. We primarily focus on subscription fees and those transaction fees, where we garner 1% of every electronic transaction that happens on the app. And a $79 monthly subscription fee. But as you can see, the supply chain management, the strategic partnerships we're developing, and order management, as well as the in-app and newsletter communications that we do, are providing other streams of revenue that we will exploit as we see the value in automating systems and making money while you sleep. Our goal is to raise $250,000 over the next couple of quarters. Go to the next slide. So we're going to use that money to offer world-class customer service that enhances the user experience by being a tool for success. We also plan to launch in a new market like Missouri or Illinois or both. Go to the next slide. As you can see here, we've got quite a bit of momentum, and we're ready to capitalize on it and replicate it elsewhere. In the midst of COVID-19, while there was a lull in activity and business, but the thing is, the cannabis business didn't slow like other sectors, and it's already showing signs of popping back to where things were before. Like I said, in March, it was the biggest month ever for sales of cannabis-related products in Oklahoma alone. Go to the next slide. For GoGoCannabiz, I appreciate you guys for letting me do the presentation. It was a little bit different than I had it written up, but I think we still got through it. Thanks for everything, and if anybody's got any questions, just let me know, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Zach. So we want to open up questions either via chat if you feel comfortable that way, or if you want to raise your hand there in the using Zoom, and I can unmute you so that you can ask Zach a question. But I'll kick off with the first question we like to ask is, how can we as a Norman community with 1 Million Cups help you grow with GoGoCannabiz?
As far as growing, I mean, it's a business to business thing. And I'm hesitant to mention it much here or to talk about it much here, but we do, our platform, our architecture is built to where we can, and I think we're going to wind up standing this up pretty soon, throwing out a business or a B2C solution, which is a delivery service direct to the consumer for the cannabis thing. Like I said, our architecture is already set up for it, so it's something we want to do and exploit. We're just waiting for it to get out of the legislative session here in Oklahoma. We know this is something we can launch elsewhere, but Oklahoma is kind of like the prime place to do something like this with the proportion of cannabis buyers in the consumer side. And so it's really just the best place to develop products like what we're offering. So that's a roundabout way of answering your question, I guess. I guess my ask would be, if you know somebody that's interested in the cannabis business, but interested in an ancillary approach to the business. In other words, the shovels and pickaxe approach to it. We want to talk to them. And as far as investors go, we've got a lot of dispensaries already on there. If you guys know dispensary owners and whatnot, let them know about us. I have a feeling I'll probably come across most of them just in my own cold calling and our own research and our own endeavor to find that best product market fit. But that doesn't mean I can't have the conversation again and go back to those folks. That would be my ask, is just talk about us, get us in touch with folks.
All right. Do we have anyone in the chat that would like to ask a question? I guess the other question I would have for you is, when it comes to the technology, right now it's you and your team member. I can't remember. Did you say that you have a tech team that is working on the app, or that's outsourced?
No, that's a great question. We outsourced our development. It's also kind of, part of our journey here. Like, when we first started talking about what we were going to do, how we were going to approach the new opportunity in a new industry, it was like, hey, let's be consultants, and then we were like, well, that's not really going to work. You're just eating what you kill. Let's build some software. With Adam's background, it was like, well, maybe there's an opportunity here. When we settled on a marketplace, when we settled on a B2B solution, the thought process was, hey, we can develop this here in Oklahoma. Let's use Oklahomans to help develop something like this. We started doing the cost analysis on stuff like that, getting quotes from developers that we knew here in Oklahoma, and it was extremely cost prohibitive. I think you find that in any kind of startup, as far as development goes, tech startups go. So then we started looking abroad. We found marketplace platforms, development, architecture in place in places like Sweden. There was other solutions that we saw in France. So we started finding ways to bring that cost down, and we settled on a solution in India. Developers in India. It was kind of the last place we looked, and really for the bang you got for the buck was tremendous. They already have a technology tech stack in place, if you will, that serves kind of like a Postmates or a GrubHub in India, where there's their architecture is used by literally millions and millions of people. So we knew it was something that we could use. They stood us up on servers for us and all that. It's been a fantastic product for us as we've developed this, as we've launched here in Oklahoma, and we hope to use them for a long time. They're great to work with.
I received a question from Joyce. She said, can you talk about how the industry has evolved since legalization and how you anticipate it will change in the short term and long term?
So since legalization, I mean, I can't talk about that. It's been pretty wild. When Oklahoma first opened up to dispensaries and letting people produce, I mean, it was funny. You go into these dispensaries and they had, cured flower products that all of a sudden were there. And it was like, well, where did this stuff come from? Like, how could it be here so quickly? So there was definitely, from the onset or from the very beginning, we knew that there was illegal product coming into Oklahoma. You had dispensaries selling stuff from California, Colorado. And, if they're selling that kind of stuff here, it wasn't the kind of, they weren't selling it here because they could sell it in California or Colorado. They were selling it here because it was a new market. It was an easy place to offload it. And there was absolutely no kind of testing or compliance in Oklahoma in place to analyze the product that was in stores. That's still kind of an issue. Now they've got regulations and rules in place that help with laboratory testing and all that. Not to say that's something we're interested in. We do want quality product, but it's not really our line of business. Lab testing and all that. But we do help folks with compliance in terms of being able to report. Oklahoma is still way behind in terms of not only setting their regulations, but following up on that regulation and making sure everybody is following the rules. And things like COVID-19 definitely inhibit that. I think the state's really working to catch up and to do things better. I think after we get out of this legislative session, things will be better. But with that comes higher cost. I mean, that businesses won't be able to avoid. And so, I think that's going to flush the business as well. The development of the business as a whole has been nothing short of shocking to me. Even knowing Oklahomans like I do, I was never prepared to see the numbers soar like they have in the realm of licensed growers or processors. It just seems so top heavy. And what was really funny to me, probably my favorite fact of what we've seen, is the largest cannabis segment or user segment in the state is the baby boomer demographic. And I remember full well that the baby boomer demographic was adamantly opposed to any sort of legalization of marijuana. So that's been maybe the most interesting fact to me, just to see that kind of stuff shake out. And it's still the case. I mean, it's the largest user group in the state.
That's interesting. We have Ida asked a question. Have you already implemented any tactics from your marketing plan? How are you monitoring your reach?
That's another great question. And that's something where, like, I don't think I was prepared to really get into that. I mean, our first approach was like, hey, we can automate this. We can kind of turn it over to social media and handle things that way. It's not worked out that way. That when you're starting a business, you got to do the things that are uncomfortable, the things that don't scale. And me being the stubborn guy I am, and working and still having plenty of other stuff going on, I just thought we turn those things over, kind of run some MailChimp stuff and look at it that way. It became readily apparent after we launched our subscription model, which actually started in January, that we needed to be really cognizant of our customer acquisition cost. And I factor customer acquisition costs into that marketing plan. And so that gave us, when we started doing that and started looking at metrics like that, that was where it was like, well, I needed to be doing more of the outreach. I need to be doing the business and development, doing those things that aren't comfort, that just don't, they're not fun to do, right? So then I had to start calling dispensaries, calling these business owners. And you're dealing with a different breed of cat than most other industries when you're talking to a small business cannabis producer or dispensary owner. And so that's really where that marketing has been. We didn't really back off our marketing outreach. We still have somebody that handles our social media. We have somebody that handles Instagram, but we have stepped up stuff like direct text messaging to business owners, where we highlight products, new things that are coming on the app. But it's really been my own outreach and letting Adam focus on the tech side of things, focus on the strategy and implementation and development side of things. It's really been me contacting folks and just staying in front of people. That's really, I would say, made those ratios or that customer acquisition cost look a lot better. I don't know if that really answers your question, but those are my thoughts on it.
Okay. And then we'll do one last question. So you asked, could your system fit with other states? What would be your next market?
Absolutely. And that's why we did it. We didn't want to be limited to Oklahoma. Obviously, we're an Oklahoma startup, but you're not going to see Oklahoma and GO CANNABIZ name or anything like that. We are actively looking to launch another state. That's why we're raising money right now. I think the first state, just because it's so close and you got some similar laws and regulations going into effect, and it's close to launching, is Missouri. There is also some, just because some of the national brands we've been in touch with, there's some potential for a launch in Illinois, which would be huge. Missouri's like 3.5 times the state of Oklahoma in terms of population. I think the population of Oklahoma could easily fit inside Chicago. So obviously those are two states we're looking at seriously. But the main focus and where we really want to be in the next couple of years is set up to where when Texas opens up to the cannabis industry, that's going to happen. We just don't know when. When that opens up, we want to be ready to launch in Texas.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Zach. Thanks for working through the fun part mid mid presentation. We really appreciate it. And you're welcome to stay on and after our next presenter and answer questions in chat. If you do still have questions, you can